Peace and good evening. Today's build: did the Europeans give African Americans Pan-Africanism? There was an attack on Pan-Africanism. There was attack. There was attack on people who teach Black history. There was an attack mounting from all different angles. So what we will be doing is be showing the presentation that I did on said subject. People are now taking current events that are taking place, and now the gun is pointed at Black history. And that we cannot have. That is a no-no. And we're going to be building on this subject. We're going to show and prove through actual facts. Peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to D Centavo, Zane, Benita, Melanated Godiness, Munchi, Kafir, Peace Sprinkle, Peace, Peace Jesus, Peace Bassa, Mars Mathematics, Peace to the God, Capri, Peace, Roman, Peace to everybody in the building. Friday night special. For those who never saw or didn't get a chance, we will begin to build upon the subject. So when you want to answer this question, or you have to refer to, is the MBK channel, which is one of the only channels that outlines this specific history, aka each one, teach one. So I will begin. Give me 1 second. Pan-Africanism by Raborn moved to Allah. So, what is Pan-Africanism? Here is a working definition. This whole presentation is based off of this definition from the Routledge Handbook of Pan-Africanism. Right? It says Pan-Africanism refers to a movement and ideology, keywords, ideology, centered on the belief that peoples of African descent throughout the continent and in the diaspora share a common past and destiny. This shared understanding of the past and future informs how people of African descent mobilize against racial discrimination, colonialism, and economic, political, social, and cultural oppression. Pan-African history includes chronicling a variety of ideas, activities, and movements that celebrated Africanness, Africanness and resisted the exploitation and oppression of those of African descent and opposed the ideologies of racism. This is very important. So here's the first thing to understand. It says celebrating Africanness, that these people resisted the exploitation and oppression of those of African descent and opposed the ideologies of racism. These three things are what is in conformity to the many ideas that provide about Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is not defined by a religion. You have Islamic Pan-Africanists. You're going to see some of them. You have atheists as people who practice Pan-Africanism. But we got to keep it moving. So I had a discussion with this brother the other day, and he made a couple of words. And this presentation will be beginning with this individual, and there's multiple of them that make these videos every day. The Pan-Pans, Pan-Africanism is dead. The Pan-Africans, but they never teach you the exact history of black people in America. So let's listen. Is that what you're saying right now? Are you saying that Pan-Africanism started with Richard Allen and the Methodist Church? Because that's the history you're telling. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. That is exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying
So you heard this brother. I'll call him Kitten. The Kitten said that Pan-Africanism started with Methodism and the AME Church. You heard it. Let's keep moving. Is that what you're saying right now? Let's go to the next slide.
They was in St. George, man, and the white boy told them niggas that I don't want you stealing ass niggas around me because I like to close my eyes when I pray. And you know what the white boys did? Yeah, they got up and they physically started removing the niggas about that motherfucker. And you know what happened? So everybody else left a fight. And that was the first time in America we see black people branch out and say, we need something for our own. Yeah, and that happened, and you know who? And so what they did was Absalom Jones becomes the first pastor here, and they end up becoming the first.
Okay. Key points to this bill. He's speaking about Richard Allen and Absalom Jones and how they created the AME Church. He said that is the first time in American history that black people decided to do something for themselves and wanted something of their own because they were a part of the church. Now we got to go through some history. So before I begin with this slide, I want God's people to understand that Pan-Africanism as the word comes around later. You have the actions, and then you have the development of the word, and then you'll see how it transforms. So remember the definition of what Pan-Africanism is. Celebrating your Africanness, fighting exploitation, fighting racism and colonialism, and unifying on that principle that you are African. So this ideology begins because Pan-African talks about the diaspora. This diaspora that we're specifically talking about that leads to America is the transatlantic slave trade. In this book, Slave Revolts, pages 28 to 29, it will describe there are 500 known with primary sources slave revolts on ships. So here's one of them. It says in 1730, captains on the American slave ship Little George escaped and reached the shore at Sierra Leone, where they received support from local population and apparently regained their freedom. The second ship, the British ship the Marburg, experienced an insurrection soon after leaving the African coast in 1752, with 28 slaves from the Gold Coast and 400 from the Niger Delta port of Bani. The rebels killed the captain and all but 8 of the crew, who were forced to sail the ship back to Bani coast. Now, you have Africans coming from the Niger Delta, and you have Africans coming from the Gold Coast who get together to overthrow the people so that they can get their freedom. These are two different peoples or two multiple different tribes of different people from different coasts who most likely didn't get along. And if you look this ship up in the story, you'll be able to see why. So now that that's established, let's keep moving. So we heard Top Kitten. The Top Kitten said that the AME Church is the formation of Pan-Africanism is around Richard Allen, and that is the first time that black people in America wanted something on their own. I don't know what these people are reading. Right here, what you're looking at is a book called the Congolese Saint Anthony Da Beatrice Kempavita. For those who don't know who Kempavita is, I want you to open the tab, look her up, This is the first black woman that we have in history that said that Jesus was a black man. She made her own movement called the Antonio movement, and she was banging on the Catholic Church using centristic religion of her, where she was initiated it with Catholicism. But let's keep moving. It says the Stono Rebellion in 1739, a Congolese known in America as Jimmy, led a major breakout from South Carolina, which was to become one of the bloodiest uprisings in colonial North America. A group of 20 slaves, mostly Congolese, gathered near the Stono River around the dawn of the 9th of September. The Stono rebels posted the heads of the storekeepers on the front steps of the building as an announcement of their seriousness. Page 211. So hold up. I thought that black people didn't do anything for themselves and want something for themselves before the AME church. No, it's always been about freedom. And these people are recognized as being Africans in the story. Next, we go to the 1712 rebellion. Some Cromanti. Mind you, Cromanti is not a people, it is a name that is attributed to the fort that is on the coast of Ghana, and it's called Cromanti Fort. Look it up. Some Crow, and this is the actual words coming from the primaries, which will be the Boston Weekly News, and we'll read the rest as we go along. It says some Cromanti Negroes to the number of 25 or 30 and 2 or 3 Spanish Indians. Here's a distinction of kind. Wait a minute. I thought Negroes and Indians, they the same. Nah, son. Indians have conspired to murder all the Christians here, and by that means sticking to obtain their freedom. About 2 o'clock this morning, put their bloody design in execution. Source, the Boston Weekly News, letter April 7th to 14th. Now, the next letter, it says 1712, some Negro slaves here of the nations of Cromarty and Papa plotted to destroy all the whites in order to obtain their freedom. The Reverend John Sharpie to the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel wrote, these accounts are corroborated by court records indicating that 8 of the accused New York City insurrectionists, including one of the alleged ringleaders, were known by Akan Day names. I want you to pay attention and remember the name that you're about to hear. 2 of the accused were named Cuffy. I want you to remember this name. The masculine day name for a child born on Friday. 4 were named Quaco, the masculine name for a child born on Wednesday. And 2 were named Kwasi, the masculine name for a child born on Sundays. These names are not indigenous to the Americas. Let's keep moving. There's one more revolt that I'm going to cover, which is very important. And since we're in New York, we're going to talk about that in New York. So this is from a journal of the proceedings and the detection of the conspiracy formed by white people in conjunction with Negro and others.
When you do that, see, you block.
Oh, shit. My bad.
You got to look at the screen.
Okay. My bad.
There you go.
Burning the city of New York. What happens here? It says 1741 revolt. Blacks formed cabals that mixed crime and revolution. Among those meeting at the Huxley Conference were the Geneva Club, the Longbridge Boys, and the Smith Flyboys. Maroons composed the runaways and other rowdy slaves under the leadership of Caesar and Prince, who were the first blacks executed, and their immolation authorities commented that the Negroes bore the character of very wicked fellows. Let's keep moving. Testimony revealed that the Geneva boys acted since the famous robbery of Jim from a tavern keeper 6 years before had the impudence to assume the style and titles of Freemasons with officers and rules. Hold up. This is 1741. This is before Prince Hall even comes on the scene. And we have people, black people, calling themselves Freemasons with rules and officers. These gangs, which they call them today, Smith Boys, Geneva Club, are your first maroon type of gangs in New York City.
So hold on. Are you saying that there's no black Freemasons, or we was not, or our
No,
people were not Masons?
I just showed that.
No, that's what I'm asking you. So is that what you're saying? That we were not Masons? Our ancestors were not Masons?
No, we were.
Oh, okay.
That's a fact.
Oh, okay.
I'm just showing that there's people calling themselves black Freemasons before Prince Hall. This is 1741.
Oh, I got. All right, I see what you're saying. I
Right.
caught it.
Right. So now we're gonna move on to Prince Hall. So as we know, Prince Hall gets initiated on 1775. You got it?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking. I'm gonna
He
put
gets
it here
it
for you.
Yeah, don't make sure it don't fall because that thing is there.
You good?
He gets initiated in 1755. So the Prince Hall Freemasons would be your first African institution. In the conscious community, you guys be online. They dealing with bafflement.
Hey, right.
They
Nah, don't say conscious community. Those are them knuckleheads. Man.
yo, they in there though.
That's the huh?
They the knuckleheads are here though.
Yeah, but that's the Negroes though, man.
Yeah, but we got to talk about it. So you make up all these things and you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So what we're gonna look at, oh, he got it from the white man. But we're gonna talk about that real shooting. They begged the white man for a charter. Why did Prince Hall decide to become a Mason? We're gonna get to that in a second. So here are Prince Hall petitions. Let's see what the Black Freemasons were doing from their exceptions as the first African institution in the Americas. Here's Prince Hall petition. It says to the Honorable Council and House of Representatives for the state of Massachusetts, the petition of a great number of blacks detained in a state of slavery in the bowels of a free and Christian country humbly shews that your petitioners apprehend that they have in common with all other men a natural and unalienable right to the freedom which the great parent of the universe that bestow equally on all mankind. I'm going to stop there for a second. I want you to understand what he's doing. He's using Christianity and what they stand for and throwing it in their face. He's utilizing words that are directly in the Declaration of Independence to put them on their square and showing them that you are off your square. Let's keep reading. All mankind which they have never forfeited by any compact or agreement, whatever, but that were unjustly dragged by the hand of a cruel power and the dearest friends, and some of them even torn from their embraces of their tender parents, from a populous, pleasant, and plentiful country, and in violation of laws of nature and nations, and in defiance of all the tender feelings of humanity, brought here either to be sold like beasts of brethren, and like them condemned to slavery for life among a people, listen closely, for life among a people professing the mild religion of Jesus, a people not insensible of the secrets of rational being. So in this thing, he is petitioning for the abolition of slavery, 1777. But he down with the white man. Let's keep moving. Later on, as you see, this comes from here, the documentary history of the Negro peoples in the United States. You could also find this on the Medford Boston Historical Site. Prince Hall petitions for education. In 1787, Black Bostonians, including Prince Hall, petitioned the state legislature advocating for greater access to a public school system. In 1798, the first separate school for African Americans in Boston was opened in Prince Hall's home. Isha Stuyvesant, later 2 Harvard students, were employed as teachers. In 1800, a petition for a school for African American children was presented by the African American community to the city of Boston, but was refused. By 1806, the school was moved to the basement of the church built by the African preacher Thomas Paul. So education was the key. Education was important. Education laid at the foundation of freedom. And this is something that they actually put into play, and they had the actually community come together to pay for these people to go to school. What do you think? The school is about Jesus and how to be a slave? No, this is not what he was doing. Let's keep moving. So I want to bring up a person. We know about Martin Delany. Let's see what Martin Delany says. He has a book, The Origin and Objects of Ancient Freemasonry. I'm bringing this up because this is going to make my point. So again, we're talking about Pan-Africanism and what it is. We see that Prince Hall is for the African cause, and we're going to get to him a little later as there's other things to touch. So here's a person, Martin Delany. Delany grandparents are directly from Africa. They were of the Gola ethnicity. He was a member of the AME Church. This is what he has to say in terms of the origins of Freemasonry. He says, was it not Africa that gave birth to Euclid, the master geometrician of the world? And was it not the consequence of 25 years of residence in Africa that the great Pythagoras was able to discover that key problem in geometry, the 47th problem of Euclid, without masonry would be incomplete? Must I hesitate to tell the world that as applied to masonry, Eureka was first exclaimed in Africa, but there I have revealed the Masonic secret and must stop here. Basically, he's telling you the foundation as far as rituals come from Africa. And what does that mean? This is going off a little bit, but you have speculative and operative masonry. Operative is the science of building, right? Speculative is adding meanings to such, right? And we first see that in Kemet when you have the foundations rituals that are constructed when people are building temples, and it's called the ritual of stretching the cord. These are specific individuals who have the science of building, but they add ritual to it, and that ritual deals with Sihat, who is the female principle of Jehuti. And when you read into that, you will see how the speculative comes to that. Your next question should be, how did it get to the European? Real quick, you have the Grecian Arabic translation movement. That movement takes the science that the Greeks got from the Egyptians, they translate it into Arabic, which is why you see all their sciences. Later on, you have the Latin translation movement, and this is how these people get out of their darkness. Well, we'll keep it moving. You want to stay on top. There was another individual. He's a coon. He's an agent. He's a down with the black church. He's going to Africa. He's teaching people about Jesus. He's a Baphomet. He's a Mason. Okay, let's see what he did. Here's Henry Highland Garden. He delivered this speech. It says, an address to the slaves of the United States of America. Brethren, it is wrong for your lowly oppressors to keep you in slavery, as it was for the man thief to steal our ancestors from the coast of Africa. Note the date 1843. Oh, they didn't use the word Africa until Jesse Jackson said African American. Yeah, you can stop saying that too. From the coast of Africa, you should therefore now use the same manner of resistance as would have been just in our ancestors when the bloody footprints of the first remorseless soul thief was placed upon the shores of our fatherland. So here you have the great Henry Highland Garnet, who has a whole story, but he's the Freemason, Prince Hall Freemason. He's a part of the church, and he's telling the people we need to uprise and bang on the European. But they're sellouts. This is what the Aboriginal community screams. Next person, David Walker. He's a Freemason. Let's see what he's got. He was a founding member of the leader of the Massachusetts General Color Association. This association fought against slavery as well as the American Colonization Society. Here is his preamble. Remember the definition of Pan-Africanism and what these people are doing. He is a part of organizations that are African, and he is fighting for the liberation of the people. Notice the appeal. Walker's Pill in 4 articles, a preamble to the colored citizens of the world, but in particular and very expressed to those in the United States of America. Let's keep reading. It says, when we take a retrospective view of the arts and sciences, he wrote, the wise legislators, the pyramids, and other magnificent buildings, the turning of the channel of the river Nile by the sons of Africa, among whom learning originated and was carried thence into Greece, where it was improved upon and refined. Did the white man teach him this, or did he read the history to find out who the original man is? But he's a Christian. He's a Mason. He's a coon. Yeah, let's keep reading. They want us for their slaves and think nothing of murdering us. Therefore, if there is any attempt made by us, kill or be killed. And believe this, that it is no more harm for you to kill a man who is trying to kill you than it is for you to take a drink of water when thirsty. Also, David Walker was a part of Denmark Vesey's revolt. He just happened to get away. So if we listen to the Aboriginal community, because these people say they are African, because they telling you where the science starts, they are coons, they're colonized. But these people are banging against the institution of white supremacy. Shame on you for even mentioning these people's names and calling them coons. Shame on you for mentioning these people. Let's keep moving. This will be our last one in Prince Hall Freemasonry. This individual is named Lewis Hayden. He was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. And here are some things that he did. He's also a part of the Black Church. Spectacular protests accompanied the arrest of Anthony Burns in 1854. Let's pause for a second. In the 1850s, the Europeans made a rule called the Fugitive Slave Act. And that act was to capture free blacks who were in the North. Black people, such as my brother here, Lewis Hayden, and other members of the church, founded vigilance committees. I need you guys to look up New York Vigilance Committee, Boston Vigilance Committee, Detroit Vigilance Committee. These are your first Black Panthers. These are the people who fought and died to make sure Black people were free. And they are recognizing their Africanness. They are telling you that they are African, and they're fighting for the liberation and the freedom of our people. But you call them coons. Let's keep reading.
Who called them coons?
The Aboriginal community.
Man, get out of here.
Yo, man, anybody who
don't do that.
Yeah,
do that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they
Yo,
did.
them Aborigines gonna get you, brother.
Yeah, they can call
They
in.
watch it. Yo,
They
got
can call in.
legendary in there.
Call in. My chest too big for you. Your arms too short to box with God.
Oh shit, let's go.
All this dude did was talk about them being they're missionaries, but you can't tell the Black people what they did. You can't tell them that. You didn't do it once. Spectacular protests accompanied the arrest of Anthony Burns. Anthony Burns was a fugitive slave in 1854. While abolitionists held rallies at Tremont Temple and Furman Hall, a rescue attempt began at the courthouse after a wild struggle with rocks, battering rams, knives, pistols. Guard James Batchelor was mortally wounded. Burns was returned to slavery. Lewis Hayden was arrested but not tried in this case. He had maimed a battering ram and discharged a pistol during the melee. But these are the coons. He had a missionaries inside here too. Yeah, he did. He had a thing called the African Civilization Society. Yeah, he went to go teach Jesus. However, he did tell the people, he told those people to stop selling slaves. And he wanted them to build cotton there to destroy the slave trade. But you don't talk about that because you're a Wikipedia guy. The kitten is a Wikipedia guy. He ain't got no books on no slide. Wikipedia.
What you call them, a kitten?
He's a kitten.
Oh,
That's what he is.
man.
He's a kitten. He's a kitten. So now I want you guys to remember the definition of Pan-Africanism. One, celebrating an Africanist, fighting for liberation, utilizing the culture, etc. So here we are dealing with naming of institutions and mutual aid societies. Here is a report called Early Black Benevolent Societies, 1780-1830. These dudes think it all started with Richard Allen. But let's keep moving. Early Black Benevolent Societies, like F.W. Butt Thompson, has delineated three types of secret societies in West Africa, many of which existed during the time of the slave trade. The mystic and religious societies included priests and holy men who, in their area, they controlled the democratic and supervised religious practices. Patriotic societies contain economic, keywords, social, and political groups. Black benevolent societies resembled both the scope of African secret societies and the communal nature of African life. It could be that because of their communal experience, Africans in the New World had a greater tendency toward mutual cooperation. Moreover, their well-ordered and hierarchical social systems might have provided a greater propensity for organization. For those who want to go in more on this, go to my bill called Africanism and the Americas. So the foundations of these mutual aid societies are West African secret societies, and they were responsible for the economic, social, and political groups. Just as these mutual aid societies acted to take care of the dead, take care of the widows, and to take care of the education and the politics of the community. Keep moving. Here is your first mutual aid society. He didn't tell you about this guy because he's a kitten meowing because you don't know. Here is the proceedings of the Free African Union Society and the African Benevolent Society, Newport, Rhode Island, 1780 to 1824. So I want you guys to first remember again, what is the definition of Pan-Africanism? Celebrating your Africanness, naming institutions on their free will. They wasn't told to do this. They did it upon their own will. Now, the founders of the African Union Society directly come from Africa. Newport Gardner was born in Ghana. He comes directly from Africa. He speaks his own language, and he was captured and taken as a slave to Newport, Rhode Island. And here is his declaration of 1789. This is what he says on why they formed the society. To all the Africans in Providence, we, the members of the Union Society in Newport, taking into consideration the calamitous state into which we are brought by the righteous hand of God, being strangers and outcasts in a strange land, attended with many disadvantages and evils with respect to living, which are like to continue on us and our children, while we and they live in this country, and they yet more wretched state of many hundreds of thousands of our brethren who are in abject slavery in the West Indies and the American states. So I want to stop there. He is recognizing that there are Africans in the West Indies, in the American states. This is Pan-Africanism, many of whom are treated in the most inhumane, cruel manner and are sunk down in ignorance, stupidity, and vice. And considering the unhappy state and circumstances of our brethren, the nations in Africa from whom we spring, we, taking all this into view, thinking there is a loud call to us to form ourselves into a particular society, to be known by the name of the Union Society, to meet once in every 3 months to consider what can be done for our good and good of all Africans. This is Pan-Africanism. In the meantime, we still wait on the Lord and are ready to do all the good we can, whether we are called to go there or stay here. We will get more. Let's keep moving. Here, before Richard Allen, again, the kitten didn't know. Again, same source, early Black benevolent society. Here is the New African Society. The New York African Society was founded in 1784. It was reestablished in 1808. This association or groups formed the society, purchased a two-story frame building in 1820, which was used for meeting and housed the city's first Black grammar school. The building also sheltered slaves as a station for the Underground Railroad. Again, I want you to remember the definition of Pan-Africanism, celebrating Africanists, naming the institutions, helping people, freeing the Blacks. It is a principal objective was to care for the sick and infirm, bury the dead, and protect deceased members, families, as well as community. Now, I want to go into something else. Hold up. Well, we ain't there yet. We ain't there with the primary yet. Give me 1 second here. So, is that showing?
Yes, yeah, we in there.
No, this is not showing.
Oh no, that's not showing.
Why is that not showing?
I have no idea, sir.
Why is this not showing, bro?
Come on.
Oh, I think.
Be careful how you do it up there now.
Oh, that's
Be
cool.
light with the fingers because you don't want to push that back or nothing.
How come it should just be showing my whole entire screen, bro?
I agree.
Why is this not showing, man? This is not good. This is not good. I need this on the screen, bro.
This is the Raborn effect, man.
Nah, this ain't the Raborn effect. I need this on the screen, bro. Okay. What is the issue? All right, so
How did you put this up, first of all?
the same way.
So wait, go down again. Did you switch it? Did you switch the tape?
Nah, it's still on the slides here.
But did you switch it? Like when you went over to that one?
Let me see. Let me go here again.
Yeah, go back to your other one. Make sure that's
This
up
is
there.
that's up there, right? You can see that
No, I don't see none of that.
on the screen.
No, bro. Whatever you see on the TV, that's what's shown on the screen.
Okay.
So you can look at the TV.
And this one,
This is the Raborn effect, man.
you don't see this. This is crazy.
Do you see it? Look, it's right here. Everything you see on here is going to be.
No, that's on my screen right now,
I'm looking on your screen.
and this is not on there. So I wonder why is that. All right, so
Go back to where you was at, where you left off at, before you switched.
this is the PowerPoint.
See, that's not on the screen either. So,
No, that's on the screen right now.
okay, let me see you go down one. Go down one. Make sure it's switched. Nope. See, I don't know what you do, man.
What the hell?
You done did something, man, when you switched off. You done took it off the screen. Maybe cut it off and cut it, don't cut the computer off. Go out of it and cut back on. Cut back on your PowerPoint.
All right, hold on. What do you see here?
Right there, bro. It's right there.
Oh, the shit is not moving.
Yeah, it's not moving now. I don't know what you did, man. Top Cat in there doing some whammy on you, man.
Yo, what's up with this? This shit is crazy, bro. Like,
Yo, look, go out of that and then come back on to the PowerPoint.
all right.
Like X out of the PowerPoint and then come back. Hopefully it's working. Give us a minute, y'all. Raborn is stuck on the thing, is stuck. And he going in, and the people loving it too, Rod. They like, damn, Lord Have like, damn, Raborn killing Top Cat.
All right, so I'm gonna go out completely. I need you to do that thing again, so
Do what again? No, I didn't say go out completely. I'm saying go. There you go. It's up now. It's up. There
Okay.
you go. There you go. See? You listen to me. We're going to get this thing.
all right, man. So Finn, sorry for the thing. I don't like sound of the new thing. I don't like this shit. I like your old pen sound. Anyway, so we was on the New York African Society. This is a book. I need everybody that's in the chat. If you are into understanding the history of Black people in America, you need to buy this book. See, the kitten don't own books. The kitten, if you look at his joints, he just put up, he goes to Wikipedia and types in and screenshots it and put it on there. He don't own none of this. He don't spend money on this. So this is called the African or American Black Identity and Political Activism in New York City. Key word, 1784 to 1861. So what we're going to do is, nope, not that one. Here we are. So here is talking about the African society and how it's formed. It says, more significantly, in spite of the African society's increasing support of moral uplift, their influence was powerful and omnipresent in New York City's Black community. The success of the African society and other Black organizations was likely sustained by their open expression of African culture, which united the Black community. Despite their ideological and strategic differences, although many working class Blacks did not officially join the association like the African Society, they supported the activities that celebrated their African heritage. What did I tell you the definition of Pan-Africanism is? Perhaps aware of the power of African cultural expressions, Black societies highlighted their shared African identity as a way to unite the community. Not only did Black activists celebrate their cultural legacy by using traditional secret society structures, they also honored their motherland in many other ways, including naming practices, community celebrations. Naming in particular represented the importance of collective identity. This is what Pan-Africanism is. So now, as we keep moving, let's keep on moving. We want to look at what the New York African Society did. They was about that education. No, it was the Manumission Society. They taught them they were Africans, and after they did that, they all just started saying it and just wanted to do everything the white man said. Yeah, that's what the Aboriginals say. It says the education of Black children in New York City increased attendance by 1% in less than 2 years. Why did it increase? They hired a Black man as a principal named Teasman. Teasman sought to further strengthen the Black community by educating adults in an African evening school, his school. So after he's teaching in the day, he's teaching the Black community who can't go to the school. As a testament to his belief in community building, Teasman introduced the Lancaster method, an alternative system of education that encouraged older students to assist in instructing younger ones. This program reduced costs, reached more children, and most importantly, taught these developing young Black students to work collectively. This is what we would call each one teach one. Despite Teasman's dedication, however, some Black activists were not satisfied with the New York Manumission Society or the African Free School and thought that they should have complete control over their community education. By 1803, Black leaders established 3 independent Black schools, 2 of which operated out of the African Zion Church. This is what the Black people did. This is the people who represent their African culture. This is Pan-African and is at the base and the foundation of the free Black community. They were Christians. They were listening to the white man. Let's keep moving. You have a brother named William Hamilton. Let's see what William Hamilton said. I want you to look at this date. He makes a speech, and this speech is an oration of the celebration of the end of the slave trade. In 1809, he delivered the bold message that ignored moral uplift. What is moral uplift? Moral uplift was a strategy that was being pushed by some Black people to forget your African culture and assimilate to the society. Don't do your African dances. Don't do your parades. Let's just show the white man that we're good, we're not drunks, and then we can get our citizenship. But all Black people are not a monolith. We don't think all the same. But let's keep moving. And he championed notions of Pan-Africanism and Black nationalism. For Hamilton, identity was the critical issue. And like Peter Williams Jr., Hamilton argued for the unity of all African people, regardless of their geographic location. He urged his people to see themselves as Africans, encouraged them to embrace the term Africa because it makes no kind of difference whether the man is born in Africa or Europe or America, so long as he is prognosed from African parents. All right, let's get back to the prayers.
I already know what you're going to say.
All right. The next one. This is the Free African Society, 1787. Here is the first portrait of the great Richard Allen. He's a black European. That's what they yell. He said his family owned Allentown. That's what the kitten said. He said, oh, his family owned and they were mayors. He is not related to William Allen. That is not his family. Man, anyway, let's get to the point. Allen's first portrait, 1784-85. This is the first likeness of Allen and among the first black founders. Recently liberated and gaining fame as an itinerant Methodist preacher on the Mid-Atlantic Revival Circuit at the time of this sitting. Why did he turn to Methodist? Well, wouldn't you know that the Methodists convinced his owner to stop slaving him and let him buy his manumission. If this is your family, why are you buying your freedom from them? Anyway, we are going to look at what the African people say for themselves. This is the preamble of the Free African Society. Philadelphia, 1778. Whereas Absalom Jones and Richard Allen, two men of the African race. Let me stop. These are black Europeans. They're Irish. You should hear these fools. This is what they say. Whereas Absalom Jones and Richard Allen, two men of the African race, who for their religious life and conversation have attained a good report among men. These persons from to the love of the people of their complexion, whom they beheld with sorrow, because of their irreligious and uncivilized state, often commune together upon this painful and important subject in order to form some kind of religious society. But there being too few to be found under the like concern, and those who were different in their religious sentiments. What does this say? But there being too few to be found under the like concern, and those who were different in their religious sentiments. With these circumstances, they labored for some time, till it was proposed, after a serious communication of sentiments, that a society should be formed without the regards to religious tenets, provided the persons live in orderly and sober life. He then says here, we, the free Africans, and their descendants of the city of Philadelphia, in the state of Pennsylvania or elsewhere, do unanimously agree for the benefit of each other to advance 1 shilling in silver Pennsylvania currency per month. So here is a person who is saying that he's of the African race. They are doing something that Malcolm X said later on and said, we can't unite over religion because we ain't going to get along. Here in 1787 in Philadelphia, he said that we're going to make an organization regardless of religion. So before the African church was brought forth, this was brought forth. Let's keep moving. What else did he do? This comes from the book Freedom's Prophet, Bishop Richard Allen, the AME Church, and the Black Founding Fathers. In 1804, Allen founded the African Society for the Education of Youth. He promoted the Colored Free Produce Society in 1830 to stop the community from buying products made from slave labor. This is the first time we kind of see this in the Americas, where you have a boycott on items that are produced from slavery. And he produces this. He then helped organize the first nationwide black movement, the Negro Color Convention, to advance the African race. We're going to get to it. We're gonna get to it. He didn't want to do nothing. He didn't care about slavery. This is the first time black people got together to do something. That's dead. Now, here is a narrative of the proceedings of the black people. So for those people who said, well, they wasn't calling each other black, this is 1793, and you can see who wrote this right here at the bottom. So the narrative of the proceedings of the black people during the late awful calamity in Philadelphia in the year 1793. What happened in 1793? It was the yellow fever. The so-called scientists at the time said that black people was immune to yellow fever. So these black people decided to stay, and with those whites who decided to stay, they took care and saved one of the biggest cities of that time. What happens after this? Why does he need to make a refutation? Why does he have to do that? The Europeans came back and decided to write and say, well, the black people were stealing from people's houses. The black people wasn't helping. The black people wasn't doing it. It was the white people, the white people, the white people. No, that's not what he did. In any event, this is what he says. He says, this is an address to those who keep slaves and approve the practice. This is what you would call, again, Pan-Africanism. He is basically utilizing the Bible because they can read the Bible and using it against them. We won't read this whole thing, but here's what he says. How hateful slavery is in the sight of that God who has destroyed kings and princes and princesses for their oppression of the poor slave. Pharaoh and his princes with their propensity of King Saul were destroyed by the protector and avenger. I stop right there. What these individuals are doing, they are erasing that black people are cursed. I showed you earlier where they talk about black people are the founders of civilization, and they use the Bible itself to condemn them, to show them that their ways and actions are not included in what you would call Christianity. They actually call them fake Christians. Even David Walker called them fake Christians. And this was our method in how to fight. So we are now at immigration or colonization. We're gonna listen to some more of the kitten and see what he said. We're gonna listen to him meowing. We're gonna listen to that little kitten. We're gonna hear that little kitten meowing. We're gonna listen to him. But before we get to that, one of the precursor organizations that were founded as a Pan-African organization will be called the Sons of Africa. That is the first organization that is in Britain, and it's founded by all black people, Oliano, Ekiano, as well as Kugiano. Now, these individuals, let me go here. Hold up. Whoa. Back up. We got a whole lot of work here. We got some work here. Back up. Yo, why is it going forward? Hold on.
Because you're hitting the forward button. That's what happens when you hit that button, bro.
Anyway, let me go here first. It's showing? Yeah, we showing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's showing. So what Ekiano and Kugiano are doing, they're fighting the slave trade there. They're actually trying to help the people who are called the Black Poor. Who are the Black Poor? The Black Poor are our direct ancestors who fought on the British side in the Revolutionary War. And they were promised by Lord Dunmore freedom if they fought for them. The British upheld it. They brought these people to London and they sent some to Nova Scotia in one of their colonies. As they were there, they were basically poor, locked out of employment, and all of these things of that nature. So something happens as they are there. This society is formed to try to help these specific people, and then a great shift happens. You have something called the Zong Massacre. Look up the Zong Massacre. So the Zong Massacre is a ship of a slave ship where you had 137 Africans killed. And our brother Ekiano writes to the white abolitionist Granville Sharpley for help. So this is where you see these writings starting to come to play. From that result of the Zon massacre in that case, you'll see the Somerset case, look it up. But something happens after this. What happens after this? This has happened. This organization that was working with white people, they were working with them, and they were working with the people who were abolitionists. This was the result. And what is the result? It's called the Atlantic Slave Trade Regulation in 1788. The whole name of the act is called the Act to Regulate it for a limited time the shipping and carrying slaves in British vessels from the coast of Africa. There's the primary right there. You can pull it up. You can look at it. It says the same thing right there. So I just wanted to throw Equiano in there, and I wanted to throw them in there and their narrative as far as attacking the slave trade and their writings to protect the black people is what you call Pan-Africanism, because they are specifically fighting against the slave trade that is dealing with all Africans. So now, we're going to go back and listen to the kitten. See what the kitten say. Let's see what the kitten got to say. Where we at? Be right here. Let's make this big. Let's listen to the kitten. Hold up.
You calling him a kitten, man? That's a grown ass man, right, boy?
Yo, cut it out, bro.
You calling him a? Come on, bro. Top Cat is a grown ass man, bro.
Yeah, you grown man. Let's listen to the kitten.
That idea to going back to Africa, meaning he was the first nigga to start putting this shit out. And he had money and he was wealthy because he was a trader. And one of the places that he was real prosperous in was West Africa. Paul Cuffey is the father of that idea to going back to Africa, meaning he was the first nigga to start putting the shit out.
Y'all heard that, right? No, we gonna run this motherfucker back. I want to make sure everybody heard that.
That idea to going back to Africa, meaning he was the first nigga to start putting the shit out. And he had money and he was wealthy because he was a trader. And one of the places that he was real prosperous in was West Africa. Paul Cuffey is the father of that idea to going back to Africa, meaning he was the first nigga to start putting the shit out.
All right. He said that Paul Cuffey is the founder of the idea for black people to go to Africa. Here, I have it here, immigration or colonization, and we're going to get to the next slide. Here, before Paul Cuffey comes on the scene in 1816, we have the almighty Prince Hall Petition. Here's what he says. 1787 Petition Boston Plan. We, our ancestors, have been taken from our dear connections and brought from Africa and put into a state of slavery in this country, from which unhappy situation we have been lately in some measure delivered by the new constitution, which has been adopted by the state of our free act of our former masters. But we yet to find ourselves in many respects in a very disagreeable and disadvantaged circumstances, most of which must attend us so long as we and our children live in America. This and other considerations, which we need not here particularly mention, induce us earnestly to desire to return to Africa, our native country, with warm climate and much more natural and agreeable to us, and for which the God of nature has formed us, and where we shall live among our equals and be more comfortable and happy that we can be in our present situation at the same time, may have the prospect of usefulness to our brethren there. So this is the man who comes up with the idea. He's the black person who was the first black person that speaks about it. Are there other Europeans in the background talking? Yes, but this is the first black person to bring it forth. Now, I want you to pay attention to why he is thinking about this in the first place. It says, we find ourselves in many respects in very disagreeable and disadvantaging circumstances. What does this mean? After the Revolutionary War, our black people are not getting the rights afforded to them, and this is an option that was brought forth to them, and they thought it would be a good idea. We're going to find out, did the whole black community agree with this? Did some of the black community agree with this? Again, black people are not a monolith. But let's keep moving. You said Prince Hall was the founder of the idea. We have again Anthony Taylor, 1787. Again, Anthony Taylor, Newport, Rhode Island, fundraising letter, January 1787. As president of the Free African Union Society, a mutual benefit organization. So this is in a whole different city. This is a whole different place. Our earnest desire of returning to Africa and settling there has induced us further to trouble you in order to convey a more particular idea of our proposal, that a number of men from among ourselves shall be sent to Africa to see if they can obtain by gift or purchase land sufficient to settle upon. And if such land can be obtained, then some of these men shall return and bring information. The company then shall go without their wives and children to make the preparation. The plan is agreeable to us, but as we are unable to prosecute it for want of money, this is the only reason of us troubling you. So these people come up with the idea. There's no Paul Coffey born. Oh, he's born, but he's not around. So what is the kitten talking about? I don't know. He need to go back in the litter box. So now, hold up. We want to deal with somebody. We want to deal with Paul Coffey. Oh, man. This comes from the letters of the Colonization Society and on its probable results. So it says the first immigration. So we talked about the idea, right? And then they put these things forward and the government denied them. So now we have a black man who is a whaler who comes from the specific family of doing such. They say in the Colonization Society, the first actual immigration of colored people from the United States to Africa was conducted by Paul Coffey, an amiable, benevolent, and liberal colored man born at New Bedford in 1759, of an African father and an Aboriginal mother. So the Aboriginal niggas is the founders.
The Aboriginal niggas?
Yeah, okay, baby. Oh, the Aboriginal people are the founders.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
man.
But we want to look at more Paul Coffey and what he does. Let's keep moving. This is something that comes from out of his book. It's called The Brief Account of the Settlement and Present Situation of the Colony of
Hey, hold up for 1 minute. You know what? Negroes kill me, Raborn. Every time our people strike back, they say weak ass shit like, how is this uniting us? Nigga, this is not about uniting us today. What the hell is wrong with you? This is about bringing clarity to history, fool.
Bang!
If we was trying to unite, we'd be trying to, sing and kumbaya and hold a hand. This is not a united party today. What the fuck is wrong with you, fool?
That's right.
Yeah, bro.
I feel like a Hebrew today. That's right. Understand? So it said Coffey decided to develop trade between blacks in England, Sierra Leone, and the United States. So this is the first action that we see. He also began to consider the possibility of relocating skilled African Americans to the colony and founded the Friendly Society of Sierra Leone to put his ideas into practice. Here is what he says when he goes to Sierra Leone on his own. It says the Mandingo tribe professes Mohammedanism. I became acquainted with two men of this tribe who were apparently men of considerable learning. Indeed, this tribe generally appears to be a people of some education. They do not allow spirituous liquors to be made use of in this tribe. They have declined, here it goes, they have declined the practice of selling their own tribe. Let me say this again. they have declined the practice of selling their own tribe, but notwithstanding this, they continue to sell those of other tribes, and thought it hard that the traffic in slaves should be abolished, as they were made poor in consequence thereof. So here he actually is trying to stop these people from selling slaves. So this black person is the first individual who went, not the founder of the idea, but the person who actually put it into activation. And when he gets there, he meets a person named John Kizzle. He meets Oleano Ekiano, and they're working with who? They're working with the black poor. Who's the black poor? Our direct ancestors that came from the Americas. But, you know, they like to say this guy's not an African. He's an Indian. We see this book. Here are the primary documents, a request to selectmen of Dharma, right? So you go, I'm selling genealogy, y'all. So if you like genealogy so much, why don't you go to the primary documents, and what does it say right here? Early descendants of Cup Slocum and Rolf Moses, ongoing research. Right here in the left, up here on the top, it says Cuffy Slocum, born Africa, Ghana. This is his father. This is who he is. But let's get a little more deeper. Here is a petition that we, being chiefly of the African extract, and by the reason of long bondage and hard slavery, we have been deprived of enjoying the profits of our labor, or the advantage of inheriting estates from our parents, as our neighbors, the white people, do, having some of us not long enjoyed our own freedom, yet of late contrary to the invariable custom and practice of the country we have been, and now are taxed both in our polls, and that small petitions of estate which, thou much hard labor and industry, we have got together to sustain ourselves and families withal. We apprehend it, therefore, to be hard usage, and will doubtless, if continued, reduce us to a state of beggary, whereby we shall become a burden to others, if not timely prevented by the interposition of justice in your power. So these Africans came together and said, we not paying taxes because you treating us like shit. And look who signs it. John Cuffy, his brother. Now remember I told you to pay attention to the name Cuffy. I showed you 1741, adventure child, and Paul Cuffy, person of the African extract. But we got to go in some more. We got to go some more. Hold up. We ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. Let's get back in the book. Let's get back in the book. Let's get back in the holy grail. Okay. We want to talk about this immigration and colonization. So you heard Prince Hall, you heard Paul Cuffy, you heard Anthony Taylor, you heard Richard Allen. All of these individuals, specific, not Richard Allen part, so you heard those other individuals state the reason why they thought that they would want to go back to Africa, because they were not receiving their rights. So now it says immigration was a movement that had been initiated, not the idea, but the actual initiation by black activists such as Paul Cuffy and Peter Williams Jr., who thought that their people would never achieve fully equality in the United States, and therefore should seek freedom among their brethren elsewhere. This is very important. Colonization, however, was an idea championed by white racists who did not want to interact with free blacks on an equal basis, and plotted to forcibly remove blacks from the United States before they gained American citizenship, posed a real threat to Southern slavery. What was the threat? But let's keep going. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to get to it. Rock with me. We're going to get to it. Let's make this bigger. Okay, this comes from the Humanitarian Societies. The name of this article, I need you guys to get it. It's called Immigration or Colonization. So it talked about Paul Cuffey. So here is a letter that he's writing to a black person, and this is after he does his trip. It says, "Dear friend William Allen, the people over here all common laborers. They are inclined to cultivate the land and make a trial of tobacco for a present year. 5 of them has about 10 acres of ground cut away." So he's basically talking about it. He's talking about the people that he took from America. Look what it says. He says the 8th to a farm of the Congo people, as he is one of the nation, a little out of Sierra Leone. He intends to go to Congo. The ninth is a native of Senegal and thinks of getting back to Senegal. Right? As to my opinion, rendering the chiefs friendly towards civilization, I recommend opening roads from tribe to tribe with their consent and establishing factories. So here he's writing in James 14, see here, to Paul Cuffey. This is the Aboriginal 101. They like to read this, but leave out a major part. So he says, "Esteemed friend, I must now mention to you that the whole continent seems to be agitated concerning colonizing the people of color. Indeed, the people of color here are very much frightened. At first, they were afraid that all the free people would be compelled to go, particularly in the southern states. We had a large meeting of males at the Reverend Allen's church the other evening. 3,000 at least attended, and there was not one soul that was in favor of going to Africa." Here is where the Aboriginals stop the story. They stop right there. See, they ain't want to go back to Africa. They ain't from Africa. Yeah. They said they think that the slaveholders want to get rid of them so as to make their property more secure. Why do they want to get the free blacks? The free blacks are the ones who are starting the revolutions. They are the ones who are petitioning. They are the ones who are building institutions, churches, schools. They're here to stay. They understood that they wanted to get rid of them so that they could continue their slave process over in the South. That's why it didn't say all free blacks. I mean, all black. It said the free blacks. Now, here's the response. However, it appears to me that the Father of Mercies is an interested subject, for it appears that they all think that something ought to be done, but do not know where how to begin. The way will be made straight and clear. We, however, have agreed to remain silent, as the people here, both white and color, are decided against the measure. My opinion is that they will never become a people until they come out from amongst the white people. But as the majority has decided against me, I am determined to remain silent. So this is how the black community works. They work with whatever the people say. So the majority of black people refuse to go along with the ACS. But they was really into Paul Cuffey's idea and our other brother. Well, let's keep moving. Let's keep moving because this is very important. Here, it says the rise of the colonization movement was marked by the formation of the American Colonization Society on December 28, 1816. So remember this date, 1816. We have Paul Cuffey that is prior to them, and they asked him questions of what he did, and we have others who are thinking of going. Even though the ACS was functioning by 1817, the organization did not gain much power or influence until the middle of the 1820s. And its inception, the ACS was composed of 3 dominant factions. One group composed of wealthy slaveholders hoped that their removal of free blacks would increase the value of their slaves and discourage the runaways. The second consisted of northern racists who feared that the free blacks would ultimately dominate the country's political, economic, and social system. Finally, there was a small minority of committed anti-slavery activists who were sympathetic to their problem of racism. By the 1820s, however, most anti-slavery activists had abandoned the organization. Say what? By the 1820s, however, most anti-activists have abandoned the organization. As a result, Southern slaveholders and Northern races who were anxious to rid America of society's free black population dominated the ACS. Now, this will be the last part on this, and you will see what happens with this whole situation as it unfolds. It says white support for the ACS intensified. The colonization movement forced black activists into a defensive posture. Fearful of forced removal, the black community began to publicly distance itself from Africa and espouse an American identity. In the final analysis, the debates over colonization and parading embody larger ideological struggles over identity and citizenship. Moreover, they marked a crucial shift in black political thought. What you are looking at is the foundation of our switch from naming institutions to Africa because they wanted to go against the ACS, and why the words colored and Negro now comes into place. That right here, this right here is the origin of this identity. Because in the beginning, as you saw, we naming ourselves African, we're doing that. All right, so let's keep it moving.
You going in now. You going in. You've been going in, but you turning up.
No, we about to turn up a little more. We about to rap him, we about to put him away.
Damn.
We about to put the kitten away.
You're about to nail him in?
We about to nail the kitten away.
Oh shit.
So now
nail is in the coffin already.
So no, it is really, this is just extra. I'm almost done, y'all. Rock with me. I'm almost done. So here's the Negro Color Convention. So this is something that was brought by our brother, and I'm not reading all of this. Hold on. I want to make it bigger. So here is the Negro Color Convention. This is the first organization put together by Africans, started by Richard Allen. It said the convent. Remember the key words. These people already told you that they were of African descent, and something is about to happen that you're about to see. It says conventions were called also to discuss the planned ways to combat violence that plague black society. Again, remember the key words of what Pan-Africanism is. The Cincinnati riots of 1829 and New York riots of 1839 were perfect examples for brutally faced blacks at that time. This happened, the blacks got together to help these black people. The moral uplift ideology of early black leaders ultimately had little effect. The convention movement continued to after the Civil War. Let's keep moving. These are the first 40 people of the color conventions, 1830. You can see Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland. These are all the people involved. Once we get to 1830, something happens. They are getting reports, and we're going to look at those reports that come from the people who go to Liberia. And when they get these reports, they make their decision. We ain't going to Africa. They say, maybe we can go someplace else. Let's go to Canada. So here, Austin Stewart was elected the vice president of 1830. The committee conveyed and resolved in 1832, 800 acres of land had already been secured. 2,000 individuals had left the soil of their birth, crossed the line and laid the foundation for the structure was promised an asylum. They got 500 acres of land, but was brought under cultivation. But hostility to the settlement of the Negro in that section have been manifested. So here they actually tried to build the college, and the European did not want it. So now what happens is they decide to not go to Africa. And here is the reason why. And then we're going to close that part out so we're not stuck there. Hold on. Okay. Black people are going, and when they come back, this is the reports we're getting. So I want you to put yourself in the place of these black people and see what happens when you get these reports coming from West Africa. It says even worse. They're worried about political unrest and conflict in the new territory, especially after black leaders heard news about unstable relations with indigenous Africans who resented the colony's existence. Tensions climaxed in 1822. when over 800 Africans attacked the settlers on November 8th and they returned 3 weeks later with 2,000 Africans for another battle. If these problems did not provide sufficient deterrence, Black New Yorkers were also receiving reports of the ghastly mortality rates among the colonists, often reaching 50%, which were the result of exposure to tropical diseases. So these people would die from malaria getting off the boat. So imagine getting these things coming back to you, and are you going to Africa? I might not be on the boat. So now our brother Boyer, who is the president of Haiti, offers this. Again, we still in Pan-Africanism. So President Boyer comes on the scene. Immigration Society to Haiti is being brought forth, and he leaves this message to the people. And when he leaves this message to the people, it said, "Brethren, in America who were struggling under racial oppression, Boyer explained he had a natural sympathy for those of African blood and yearned to give them refuge in Haiti. My heart and my arms have been open to greet in this land of true liberty these men upon whom the fatal destiny rests in the manner so cruel." So he gave this message to the Black people. The Black people responded. They formulated the Haitian Immigration Society. They go there. Things ain't what they appear to be. And half of them Black people came back. So we had a chance to go to Haiti. But guess what? The ACS didn't support this immigration movement because they didn't want to empower this Black society. So what did the Black people decide to do? We decided we're staying. And then the anti-colonization movement goes on full blast. So out of the whole time of this organization, approximately 16,000 people from the Americas went there. There's millions of us here. So again, you see President Boyer, he's calling the people African, he's reaching out, and we see what happens. So now, as a testament of people going against colonization, they decided to build free Black communities. So here, this is from the book, The Free Black Community of Weeksville, Brooklyn's Promised Land. The Black people are no longer, as a collective, going anywhere. We decided to stay here and fight. This is an example. Weeksville, Brooklyn. In the mid-1830s, opponents of the American Colonization Society helped found Weeksville as a concrete alternative to colonization abroad. 4 years after Henry C. Thompson chaired the Brooklyn meeting against the American Colonization Society, he invested in land that became the nucleus of Weeksville. George Hogarth, one of the leaders of this meeting, later moved to Weeksville. From 1840 to 1865, Weeksville developed its identity as a predominantly African-American community by creating institutions that reflected a vibrant community life. These included 2 churches, the AME Church, but these are the coons. They're dealing with the church. They was missionaries. No, they refused the colonization society. They built the school number 2, the Citizens Union Cemetery. Weeksville also began significant statewide and nationally as a center for activism against slavery and for the rights of free people of color. But guess who else was there? Henry Garnett. He has a society called the African Civilization Society. He said his mission was to go to Africa and teach people about Jesus. However, he wanted to go stop the people from doing slavery. Hey, they believed in Jesus. It is what it is. So now, as we come to the closer, we again showing how Pan-Africanism arises. And I think that this part is very important because we have a lot of the ADOS brothers who go against the people who live in the West Indies. And we're going to talk about something we did. Here is a book called The Rights of August 1st. So you guys heard of Black August, and we start with George Jackson, and we start with our brothers. But this August 1st is dealing with the emancipation of slavery in the West Indies. And this happens in 1833. But what makes this happen? Revolt of San Sharpie, the Christian, December 27, 1831. Slaves like the Kingston estate in western Jamaica. Over the next several days, the revolt spread over a radius of 750 square miles, eventually involving 60,000 slaves. The Jamaican uprising played a significant role in the advent of slave abolition in the British Empire. On May 23rd, 1832, while in jail, Sharpie had several meetings with Reverend Henry Belby, a missionary who reported that Sharpie told him, "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live my life in slavery than live a slave." This is 1832. After this, 1833, the people become free. What happens? West Indian Emancipation Day becomes a holiday August 1st for Black people in the Americas and in the West Indies. The anti-slavery speakers and popular anniversary functioned as conduits of Pan-African communication. The consciousness of the movement and interaction, it must concerns the universal place of Africa in world history and politics. Between 1830 and 1865, it has been estimated that at least 83 Black abolitionists visited the United Kingdom travelers over the first 2 decades. Here, August 1st Day commemorations and speakers. Read it. 1838. Look at them. James W.C. Pennington. That's one of our first Black doctors who utilized his science to help debunk before Charles Darwin comes on the scene that we were inferior. And look at all of these people. We're not going to go through all of these names, but you see the sources. It's right there. This ain't Wikipedia. Kitten. Here, speech. Well, let me go back. Oh, I didn't put it here. Damn. Okay. In his August 1st address to Toronto celebration, Samuel Ward lectured his audience of 100 Black women and men and children on the source of world civilization as being Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia. So this is one of the people, Samuel Ward, who's on that list. You have something that was brought forth called independent militias. These independent militias was also formed after 1850 to protect the Black community because the white Europeans were coming to enslave them. Here is the name of them. And these things they were parading on West Indian Day. Here's the name of these independent organizations. Independent Corps, Albany, New York. Independent Cadets of New York. National Guards, Providence. Hall Guard. All the way down the line. These are all Black organizations that participated in these parades. The August 1st Day celebration in New Bedford was attested by several different militants during the 1850s, including the independent cadets, etc. This is Pan-Africanism. They are celebrating their Africanness. You heard the page before. They're doing speeches talking about the origin of civilization, and they are working together because they see themselves as one people. Now, as that 1850 closes, something comes into play. Melville Hurstafus is the founder of African Studies in America. Yeah, page 26, Encyclopedia of African American Education, Pan-African and manifests itself in the Black Power movement, etc. This organization, the American Negro Academy, was founded in 1897. It was an organization of Black intellectuals who thought their scholarship and writing were dedicated to the promotion of higher education, arts, and science for African Americans as part of the overall struggle for racial equality. The ANA was launched during an era marked by the infamous Plessy versus Ferguson, segregation ruling, and by bourgeois Jim Crow, social justice, and social Darwinism. These people are fighting against all of these things. They're fighting against social Darwinism. They're fighting against this. They're fighting against segregation. Who is the Reverend? Alexandra Cromwell. Next comes the Negro Historical Society. The Negro Society for Historical Research was founded in 1911. The Negro Society for Historical Research was one of several organizations that emerged around the turn of the century to preserve, study, and disseminate Black history. The NHR set out to gather books, pictures, letters, manuscripts, artifacts, and other historical data pertaining to Blacks' contributions to world history. And this will be by Edward Bruce, who is a Freemason, a Pan-Africanist, and Arthur A. Schomburg. There's the book. The kitten don't got that book. Next, we have Hubert Harrison. In 1917, he founded the Liberty League of Negro Americans and the Voice, which were the first grassroots organization newspaper of the new Negro movement in the Black Mecca of Harlem. The Liberty League called for an end to segregation and disfranchisement, armed self-defense, and federal legislation against lynching. So he's a Pan-Africanist. He's one of the teachers of Marcus Garvey, and he is a Black atheist. And he writes this book, When Africa Awakes. Pay attention to the definition of African Pan-Africanism. Being aware of what your African is. Fighting against what? Racism, colonialism, and slavery. Next, we have the African Blood Brothers, 1919 to 24. The African Blood Brothers was for African liberation and redemption, and was a militant Black liberation group founded in 1919 by these individuals here. And this is what they was about. In 1921, the ABB gained notoriety for a boosted membership after the Tulsa, Oklahoma branch was linked to the armed resistance of local Blacks during the Tulsa race riot. So these people who are communists, who's following the white philosophy, decided to go to the Tulsa riots, and according to this history, they was trying to help the Black people, Pan-Africans. The Black Panthers are not Pan-Africans. Yeah? Stop saying that bullshit. Here, the Black Panther. What are they celebrating? African Liberation Day. Here are their books. Do you see Pocahontas on this motherfucker? Do you see Pocahontas up here? No. You see Malcolm X. You see Franz Bernard. You see Kwame Nkrumah.
Yo,
who said
that they wasn't Pan-Africanists?
Listen, these Aboriginals run in different groups. So this is really not about the kitten. This is about all of them.
And they all be saying,
yes, they say fuck the Africans. They say fuck anybody who say they African. They say they colonized, that they was taught that. So what they do is they got the new thing. They call them Black Europeans, call them Black Irish. Then they'll turn around and say, okay, the white man taught them that they were Africans.
Damn.
That's what they do. Look, here's the books. We ain't got to keep moving. Let's go. Now, we ain't got to go into that. You don't need none of that. Okay, the foundation of the word Pan-Africanism comes from a person named Henry Sylvester Williams. He is around before Melville Hershkovich. Here, the first Pan-African Conference had 5 stated aims: to secure for Africans throughout the world true civil and political rights, to ameliorate the conditions of our brothers on the continent of Africa, to promote efforts to secure effective legislation and encourage our people in educational, industrial, and commercial enterprise, to foster the production of writing and statistics related to our people elsewhere, to raise funds forwarding these purposes.
So are you saying that the Aborigines be acting
They
like
say fuck that.
They be acting like the Hebrews? Like
No.
the Africans?
They worse than the Hebrews.
Oh my, hold on.
Yo, look, these dudes say
What?
These
If
dudes.
I've been dealing with the Hebrews, I gotta go and see what they teaching.
Yo, these dudes be saying Egypt is really in America. That the people came from America and went over there.
Raborn, I guarantee you, they not in a fucking house teaching their daughters and their children that.
I think they are.
Because if they was, they'd be getting an F in school. They wouldn't even make it out of the fucking school, bro.
You right.
You mean to tell me that you would send your child to school being the dumbest fucking child in school when they asking you about African and American?
Right. So let's
Come on, bro.
Yeah,
I don't believe they doing that.
Yeah, they doing that. So let's get to this, right? So here's the minutes of the first Pan-African Congress. Since they want to talk about missionaries, yes, Black people went there to teach people in Africa Jesus. Yes, some of them was on some bullshit, but that is not the majority. Pan-Africanism is not attached directly with repatriation. It is about fighting. It is an ideology. That's it. Now, look what he says. This is what they say. Let not the cloak of Christian missionaries enterprise be allowed in the future, as so often in the past, to hide the ruthless economic exploitation and political downfall of less developed nations whose chief fault has been reliance on the plighted faith of the Christian church. So here, Sylvester Williams is getting after the Black people who went there and was on some bullshit. But this is the first Pan-African Congress. In the 2000s, then this cut off. If you want to see this whole presentation I did on the Republic of New Africa, I want you to just go to my Each One Teach One, pop in Malcolm X Society, and this will pop up. So here is a person in the middle named Shuko Lumumba. He died. He became the mayor of Jackson. He was a part of the Republic of New Africa, and he became the mayor of Jacksonville. So it says the program and pillars of his KISS plan, right here, has three fundamental programming components that are designed to build the mass base with the political reality, organizational capacity, and material self-stability to advance the objective of building an autonomous power. The three fundamental programming programs are building the People's Assembly, building an independent Black political party, building a broad-based solidarity economy. Whoa. As he dies, his son comes into play. He makes an organization called Corporation Jackson. What do? Following the establishment of Corporation Jackson in 2014, they have a vehicle for coordinating the community land trust, which has included the purchasing of entire streets as part of a territorial strategy against gentrification, developing a fab lab for skilling up workers in 3D printing and technical development, reinvigorating the People's Grocery Initiative, expanding the substantial agricultural initiative. But you want to say, fuck Pan-Africanism? Fuck you. What do you have to show us? What do you have? All you do is talk about fuck Africa, fuck Pan-Africanism. They're agents, they're coons, they're Masons, they're Christians. What do you got? Nothing.
Go in.
Motherfuckers.
Dang.
Now, the founder of reparations today, reparations is old, comes from the Republic of New Africa. So right now we're talking about HR 40. Here's NCOBRA. It says NCOBRA's founded meeting September 26, 1987 was convened for the purpose of broadening the base of support for the long-standing reparations movement. Organizing founders of NCOBRA include the National Conference of Black Lawyers, New African People's Organization, and the Republic of New Africa. So right now, in 2021, we got a bill that is in office, put together by the Republic of New Africa and other individuals, and you want to say fuck Pan-Africanism? No, fuck you!
Damn, they be saying that, Raborn?
You don't got nothing to say. So put the fucking camera on me, man. Put the goddamn camera on me, man.
Hold up, man.
Put the camera on me, man.
Raborn want all the smoke, man. He want all
Put the camera on.
Come on, come right up here, Raborn. Come on.
Put the goddamn camera on me, man.
Right up here.
Listen, man.
Bend down. There you go.
I'm turned up on you, motherfucker.
Go ahead.
I'm sick of you. You are a plague, and you don't have anything to show Black people. All you do is talk about Africa. When you gonna teach the Indian history? When you gonna do that? I just showed you the birth of the free Black community.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Well, today we got Christians and Masons, and those are not the same people back then. Those people was about that action. These people are sellouts. Now let's end this off with this.
Hold up, Raborn.
Hold up. You gotta do this last one.
Yeah, but hold up, man. We got goddamn Judith Redemption talking about I'm a shit starter. Did I start this shit?
No, I started it.
Why are they called? See, they always blaming me.
No, this is me. This is me. This is me. This is my lecture.
Not my lecture, man.
Once the kids disrespecting my people on Clubhouse, and started talking crazy, you brought the beast back out. Now I ain't even see me on here. I've been chilling. I only come out for body bags. Now listen to this guy. Yo, you gotta look at this, Sarnetta.
Go ahead.
Listen to this shit. Everybody listen.
Georgie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, man, we gotta run you through this, George. Don't make me do this. I want y'all to just look at these niggas, man. Bro, that ain't no motherfucking African.
What the fuck?
Man, y'all say, man. Now they get out there and they get the fucking on them and they get the mixing and matching and all that shit up.
See that, right?
All right, Joe, let's run you through that. I ain't got all that, goddamn. He was a jerk.
So, George Padmore was a prolific journalist, an advisor to Kwame Nkrumah, and he was a part of a communist organization. He found out that they were using Black people, and then he condemned them and wrote a book called Pan-Africanism or Communism. But you just said, look at this nigga, he ain't an African. But I'm going to give you a source. since you said that your family is John Hope Franklin, this is coming from the John Hope Franklin series.
Uh-oh.
George Padmore, his parental great grandfather, was an Asante warrior who was taken prisoner and sold into slavery at Barbados, where his grandfather had labored on a sugar plantation.
Don't hurt him, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
So it's a wrap, man. We done. That cat stiff. He dead. The fuck out of here.
Damn.
We done.
Oh, man. Yo, man. Hey, family, you already know what it is. It's time to call in. Yo, get a chair, Raborn.
Woo! Goddamn. Goddamn. Well, I'll say goddamn, Raborn. That was a hell of man. That was a hell of a thing there. That was a hell of a thing there. Goddamn. 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 I think there's a stiff cat around here. He dead. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a lot of information in it. I would like to, thank True Storian because he stopped me. If you notice, you saw multiple slides that I didn't talk about. I actually had 100-some slides. Then Danny told me you crazy. So thank Danny for that. But let me put the link in the chat here, just in case there's somebody that wants to jump in here. Just in case. You never know. Ain't that possible? All right. Copy link. Let's throw this in the chat. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed the presentation, man. If y'all didn't see it, or if y'all wasn't live with it, because that shit was lit. That shit was lit, man. But yeah, man, I just felt I had to do that presentation. Try to speak positive about Brooklyn. That broke your heart. Jesus said. Yeah, son, I had to put respect on Brooklyn, bro. The yeah, man. What y'all got going on in this chat? Put the blood card, yeah. But yeah, man, it's something, weird that I see going on now. And it's gonna be an attack on, people who teach black history. We supposed to be coons or sellouts, or I guess we supposed to be all of these things. I don't know. Very interesting. Our brother True Stovian did a build on the origin of the conscious community, and some people think that this starts with YouTube. Doesn't start with YouTube. And it's not gonna end with YouTube. But yeah, man, peace, Vassal. And if anybody want to jump on, man, hit the link, man. Jump in here, man. Somebody got something to say about something. That was a lot of information. I think I made an error somewhere in here. I made an error in it. Then I happened to look on Sarnetta today, and I saw a video I did with Garfield. And he had that video in his Patreon, so a lot of people never saw it. That video is from 5 years ago. So now I look at it, I'm like, damn. How has AKA Mr. Brown grown since then? Yeah, that shit was 5 years ago. Damn. But yeah, man. Anybody got anything to say? Any questions in the chat? If you scared to jump on, it's okay. I understand. No questions? No nothing? Let me see. Excuse me, they haven't made you question it before because he was well wrong. And then he said he got the wrong coffee. I was arguing that they were African. The second Paul's mother was an African living in New York. I don't know. Just as another poor coffee. I think confused the truth. I don't know. If I got going there, let me see what else is in the chat. EVO going crazy in here. Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke said it's African just like your oppressor taught you. I don't know what else to show you, man. At this point, be all you can be, bro. 'Cause I basically showed the Africans talking for themselves, and I don't know. Oh, this is something wrong with my sound. My sound is messed up. I don't know. There's something wrong with my sound. Right. Anybody got nothing to say? I'm up out of here. It's your last chance for some questions. Come on, add on and build. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Let me see. Is it still? Can y'all hear me out there? Put a 1 in the chat. Oh, I'm choppy. I'm still choppy. Mic check, mic check. Mic check. I don't know. But I'm out of here, man. Ain't nobody jumping on here. Don't have originals want to party with me. But thanks for watching. There was a lot of information in there. I hope you guys get some of that. And with that, I just say peace, man. I don't know about Two Poor Cuppies, bro. Never heard that one before. That's a new one. Is it possible? Maybe. I never heard of it. Okay, so let me take these off now. Hold on. Can y'all hear me better now? Is the sound better? But yeah, man, I don't know about Two Poor Cuppies. I never heard that shit before. That's a new one, bro. Me never heard that. Never heard that before. Never. Never heard that one. Let me scroll back up. See if there's anything else in here. Y'all crazy, yo. Oh, it's in and out still? All right, man. I got to get off of here then, man. But thanks for those who tuned in. I want you guys, if you could, hit me up. Facebook Messenger. I'm going to start checking that more because I really don't check it. But, yo, look that up. Wait, I did find something. Hold on. I hope y'all can still hear me, man. Let me know if it's still going in and out. I wanted to show something. I found something the other day. I thought it was interesting, but let me pull this guy up to the stage. There was a guy I found out about. Shit blew my mind. I never heard of this guy. Wait, where is it? No, this is Sanders. We're not doing him. What is his name? Oh, this guy. Yeah, we're gonna get to this guy right here. Let me see if I can pull him up. I'm gonna pull this guy up. Oh yeah, then I'm gonna go over something else. Is this him? Let me see if this guy. Prince Ukaba Riga. Yeah, we're gonna look at this guy here. We're gonna check this guy out. And then I'm gonna go over something. Let me check this thing, man. Let me see what y'all dealing with here. Is my sound still fucked up? Okay, y'all hear me? All right. So I'm about to share the screen. Yeah. You know I gotta be careful sharing the screen, bro. I'll be fucking up, bro. I'll be fucking up. All right, let me see how you do this. We're gonna go to Zoom, share, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So check this guy out. This is in the Los Angeles Times, bro. This would be, I believe, this is 1919. Yep, this is 1919. Look at this. It says African prince in LA urges Negroes return to Africa, appealing to the colored people of America to awaken to the great opportunities awaiting them in Africa. The Reverend Prince Ukaba Riga of Onyoro, British East Africa, is in Los Angeles to give a series of lectures on this subject. Prince Riga's father is king of Onyoro. His brother is the crown prince. If Africa is to be redeemed, it has to be accomplished by the intelligent and Christian American Negro, said Prince Riga. The African will accept the American Negro with confidence. In fact, many of the people of my country are looking forward to a great migration of intelligent American Negroes to the home of their ancestors. They're among their own race. They can rise to high positions. Prince Riga exhibits motion pictures of his country. This is 1919, y'all. You got an African prince, supposedly, in America, saying his father is the king. And I think I remember I told you guys about Laura Adacor Kofi, right? I still have to do more research on this individual because I just found out about this person 3-4 days ago. I want to make sure he's legit, but this is the newspaper, and this is the prime. So far, this is a primary talking about who he was. But there you have a person coming from Africa, coming to the Americas to save the so-called African American. Very interesting. So now there's something else I do need to look at. Give me 1 second. And yeah, I'm gonna have to go through this because I kind of fucked up. Excuse my language, y'all. So if you look on this channel, I don't know if we private it. A lot of videos on the channel, you won't be able to see them. They private. You know, we'll open them back up. But I did a video on the genre revolt, and we're gonna call that also a Pan-African revolt, and it was one of the biggest revolts in the Middle East. Right? So there was something I was building on from that video that Shah put up from 5 years ago. And, you know, I didn't plan that. I just was told to go there and we just started talking. So let me flip this sideways. On the genre revolt. I'm gonna make sure I open it up. I use this because there's a lot of primaries here, and this comes from New York Public Library. And it's talking about the African diaspora in Indian Ocean world. And right here, it says beginning at least, let me make sure, this is East Africa. Let me see, Arabian Peninsula. All right, we'll just stay here for now. We'll just stay at East Africa. It said beginning at least in the 7th century, the inhabitants of the East African coast, Bantu and Cushitic speaking groups created a cosmopolitan culture along with the Swahili coast. Then it'll go into Tanzania, Kenya, talks about Persian, Arab, Indian, Chinese merchants, talks about how they was making their way down, talks about the seafaring and the trading networks, talks about how East Africans who arrived in the Indian subcontinent aboard the ambiguous dhows almost always stopped in Yemen before continuing to South Asia. And it talks about the demand for slave labor at times drew fierce competition between Arabs and East Indians. Such rivalry accelerated with the arrival of the Portuguese in the Indian Ocean. So yeah, they fighting over. And they got a whole bunch of primaries on this. They took this site down and put it back. So I'm glad that they put it back. So here talks about Ethiopia. They are part of this, right? Says the presence of Ethiopians or Abyssinians across the Indian Ocean world appears early in archival archaeological record. You have the anonymous first century Greek. We all should know about Perpulus and that weird thing there. And you have the Persians and the Byzantine historians Muhammad bin Jarrah al-Tabari and Procopus Srasa indicate that between 532 and 535, the Ethiopian general Abra al-Asharam, a Christian, seized the throne of the Himmerite kingdom, ruled the king of Saba 35 years. His son, a Yemeni woman, ensured that the African presence in Arabia remained flowing. His death in 570 AD. And it's going to keep going. So this is the thing I was talking about, but I really got into this. And would that be this one? Southern Iraq. So I just wanted to make sure that I had this correct. And you'll see as early as the 5th century. So I know I want to make sure I'm right. I got to make sure you're right and exact. As early as the 5th century, Arabs brought Africans to southern Iraq. So 5th century, you know, this is before Islam, right? To work their date plantations and salt marshes. But not all the enslaved were of African origin. Some were white, namely Sicilians and Georgians from the Caucasus. So I just wanted to make sure, but this is what I was building on. I mean, and it's interesting that he put that from 5 years ago. And, you know, the Jean Rebellion, this is a Pan-African revolt, and it's one of the biggest in that area. And them people had us on them goddamn plantations out there for the European. Let me see one of these pictures, yo. These pictures is dope. So I think y'all should get, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for this. So let's get spooky, y'all. This is 1237. Author Abu Muhammad. Look, they have boats. They came to America, yo. Check them out. Let's get pseudo. Yeah, this site is dope. So, and they took it down. And there's some pictures missing on this image gallery, but I have the original. I got them all already, so they can't erase them. And I just want to show one more thing. What's this? The Arabian Peninsula. So Arabs dominated the slave trade in the Indian Ocean from the 6th century. That's a long time. Until the arrival in the late 15th century of the Portuguese. That's a long ass time, yo. God damn. But keeping up with the title of this thing, that Pan-African revolt took place. And it's crazy. You know what I mean? So, you know, in Arabia, starting in pre-Islamic times, Arabs traded Africans at Mecca, the crossroad for many of the caravan routes in the Arabian Peninsula. This shit crazy. So this is in pre-Islamic times. According to the Hadith traditions of the Prophet and his companions, among Muhammad's earliest converts was Bilal, the son of an Abyssinian slave. Bilal al-Had, the Ethiopian, as was also known and described. He became free. And then you're going to see something, because this is going on at this time, right? Muhammad in his Hadith says if a person is an Abyssinian and has hair of a raisin, you should listen to them. Why does he have to say that? Because this was going on pre-Islam. So yeah, man. So it's interesting when you see those Africans over there. Look, the Yemen and the old man, right? The ancestors of the Yemeni of African descent arrived in several waves. The Akdan, the Hajar, the Sabians descend from the Ethiopian conquerors. Pay attention, Ethiopian conquerors, notably Abraha. Y'all need to look this person up. This right here, y'all need to do the knowledge to that. Do the knowledge. Abraha al-Ashram, who settled in Yemen between the 3rd and 6th centuries. You need to look him up. Very important. And this is I'm not gonna do that today, but that's gonna be a surprise. Who settled in Yemen between the 3rd and 6th centuries. Subsequently, their descendants worked as agricultural laborers and fishermen. They were joined by Somalians, Eritreans, and other Ethiopians. So when you start seeing these Africans over there, right, in the Yemen and the old man, they're like, look to the black people. The black people were there, the original man. It has a different history. So I just wanted to look at this exact, because I really went off the head in that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was going off the dome. But that was good though. So, let me put it in here. Now it's not an article, it's a site. I'm gonna put it in the chat now. It's the New York Public Library site. They took some pictures off of there though. They had some primaries up there. Well, everybody left the room. 36 is in the building. I guess they was here for the presentation, which is good. Support, add on, peace to everybody in the building. Yeah, everyone should just convert to Islam, man. You right, man. Allahu Akbar. All right, man. I'm done here, man. Nobody in the chat. Nobody hitting the link. Let me see anybody in the waiting room. Nope. Going once. I'm going to put the link in here one more time. I can't believe nobody want to talk to the God, bro. Nobody want to talk to me, man. Shit crazy, yo. Maybe, I don't know. All right, man. I'm off of here. What's that Vassal put in there? Macaster News. Oh, I'm trying to find the newspaper ad when Macaster, the blacks demanded to be sent back. Oh, that's dope. I need to figure that out. I'll get that for you. Oh, you got it. So let me check it out. Macaster. Yo, how you always try to find some way to link stuff to Oklahoma, Vassal? You are some yo. I'll put it on the screen, yo, because you gave it to me, bro. You always find some way to link Oklahoma, bro. But that's dope. You repping the hood, man. I wish the other brothers would rep the hood, man. Wait, what the hell just happened? I thought I had it on there. Oh, here it is. So this is the Macassar Kathy all-black Oklahoma discussed in the U.S. Congress. They talking about Black Lives Matter. I don't give a hell. In 1890, Oklahoma Immigration Association began to send agents throughout the South, recruiting African Americans to relocate to their territory. The agents highlighted the opportunities in Oklahoma. Okay. In the 1800s, what was to become Oklahoma was the land of exile and hope. We all know that already. Oklahoma, spaces, where's the Africa? Okay. Federal legislation pushed by the former state auditor of Kansas, McCabe, we know who he is, asked Congress to designate Oklahoma as a black state. McCabe's push for what was then called Negro colonization got as far as a congressional committee. McCabe widely considered the father of America's all-black town movement. So if you don't know who he is, McCabe, he founds the city in Oklahoma, Langston. Okay, let's see. Where's the Africa, man? This is dope, though. No Africa here, buddy. No Africa here. I think I finally got you. I finally got you, Vasa. You ain't connecting it. You ain't connecting it. Let me make sure I'm right before I jump out the window on you. Vasa will make a way to make this happen, bro. I ain't doubting him. Just want to make sure. But this is some dope history that people should read about. Let me close out. Let me see what he's talking about. Oh, you said there's an older article. My bad, bro. I apologize. Oh, the new Mecca part? No. I seen it. I didn't miss it. There's something around there. Oh, it is. What was it called? It was called the Committee of Six, right? Let me make sure. Committee of Six. Let me put Oklahoma. I think it was called that. Committee of Six. Was that's what it was called? It was called the Committee of something. I'm gonna figure it out right now, bro. I got you, bro. I just can't. My brain is but that can't be just Chief Alfred Sam. There's something else that was happening before him, man. And I can't remember what it was called. I know it was a committee. It was somebody who did something. And I forgot what it was, man. God damn it. Can't remember, bro. But we know about Chief Sam. It's not him. I'll figure it out, bro. I'll look into something. I just can't remember off the top of the head. I can't remember. My brain is not it's not operating. Salt slave trade, yeah. Facts. But I'm out of here, man. Nobody want to party with the God. Peace, man. I hope you guys like the presentation. I'm out of here.